Coming up on Ag Week TV, we kick off our Ag Week 2022 corn and soybean crop tour. NDSU's revived rye seed development could give producers another cover crop option.
I'm Mikkel Pates. I'll get you caught up on the big topics at Dakotafest in Mitchell, South Dakota.
And the Supreme Court looks to make a ruling on federal water regulation. Welcome to Ag Week TV. I'm Emily Beal. South Dakota's largest farm show took place this week. More than 20,000 people make the annual trek to Mitchell for Dakotafest to learn, see, and connect through agriculture. One of the panel discussions at Dakotafest covered the prospect of a web of pipelines to carry excess carbon dioxide from 32 ethanol plants in the Midwest to a permanent home in western North Dakota. Mikkel Pates was in Mitchell and has more.
One of the big Dakotafest topics this year was carbon dioxide pipelines. They have big benefits for the ethanol industry, but some drawbacks for landowners.
I don't think for-profit companies should have the right to take your land from eminent domain.
Jay Poindexter farms and runs a cow-calf operation. He's among the landowners at the forum who expressed concerns about the pipelines. He's concerned about the companies taking control through eminent domain, but also about the safety of the pipeline.
I visited with a gentleman from Millette yesterday, and the pipeline runs 300 feet from his brother's house and 500 feet from their feedlot. If you had a rupture right there, nobody even ever know it. Just all you're going to do is collect the dead bodies.
Jim Paroli of Summit Carbon Solutions denies that there's any threats of eminent domain. In fact, so far, they've signed hundreds of easements covering 700 miles.
We haven't threatened eminent domain on anyone. We haven't filed for eminent domain. That's a much different part of the process that's much later if we get there. Our focus is on acquiring voluntary easements.
The CEO of Glacial Lakes Energy says some of the co-op's 4,200 shareholders are also landowners affected by the pipeline, so they care about what happens along the route.
It is something that's top of mind for us, is how it's impacting folks. And so it's not like we just are focused on the margin side of it, although that's the reason. We want to stay in business, we want to make more money with a lower carbon fuel, so our shareholders and our producers that serve us can make more money.
One of the most well-attended events at Dakotafest is the South Dakota Congressional Forum. The upcoming Farm Bill was the topic.
I do think we want to update reference pricing. Clearly inputs are high. Updating reference pricing, asking whether or not there's some things we can do to crop insurance to make ad hoc disaster relief less likely, and then working with the broader livestock community to make sure that we're hitting the target with their risk management practices. We've moved in the right direction in the last couple of years, but I think there's still a sense from at least some of the groups that we got a little ways to go yet.
The payment limits on CRP acres haven't been increased since 1985, so it's a $50,000 payment limit today. Most other Farm Bill programs are at $125,000. So I think that's another way of opening up more demand for the program.
I don't mind having a CRP program that goes for 10 years, as long as there's some safety built into it so that if you do have a drought, you can still keep your foundation herd. You've always got to be able to maintain a cooperative effort with your conservation groups as well. Don't make it so easy that it's being used all the time, because then you lose the benefit that they're looking for, which is for wildlife production.
Another well-attended event was the Governor's Ag Innovation Forum. Governor Kristi Noem emceed the event. It touched on the progress of high-speed broadband in South Dakota, as well as new innovative ideas producers are using, such as automation in farming and ranching. One of those is using a virtual fence for grazing livestock.
We don't give cattle enough credit. They are very intelligent, and so it takes a couple days. You have to train them in a paddock that has real fence around it, just so they understand how the sound and the shock works. But we know where they are all the time. We can control their movement. Therefore, we can control how the grass is grazed and therefore how it grows, right? All with kind of the idea of ultimately making that acre more efficient.
Jorgensen is CEO of the largest seed stock operation in the U.S. This year, they'll market close to 5,200 bulls. For more stories from Dakotafest, check out Ag Week magazine or agweek.com. Emily?
Thanks, Mikkel. Many farmers are always on the hunt for an additional income avenue on the farm. Peterson Farm Seed is offering a unique opportunity for farmers in the region to do just that. The company, led by CEO Carl Peterson, is looking for farmers to grow an unusual crop in the region: peas.
This is one of Carl's kind of off-the-wall projects. This is one of those really grower-focused projects that we're looking at. We're looking at adding profitability.
The peas are ultra-high protein. After being grown and harvested, the peas would go to processing plants where their protein content would go directly into food or another product. Possible processing plants for the project are located in Minot and right across the Canadian border.
The Red River Valley isn't really somewhere that we conventionally see peas, but I am from western North Dakota, so a lot of my area is going to be very interested in that, where we're looking at sandier ground, stuff that's a little bit drier.
Peterson Farm Seed will be signing contracts with producers who are interested in their ultra-high protein peas this fall and winter. As cover crops grow in use, more farmers are starting to grow their own. Universities are also reviving seed development in cover crops like rye. Jeff Beach has more in this week's Ag Week cover story.
We're in eastern North Dakota where a farmer shares what he's learning about cover crops.
So it's our third growing season of having rye. That was the first time since 1962.
Randy Melvin farms with his dad and brother near Buffalo, North Dakota. In 2019, prevented planting sent them looking for a cover crop. They decided on rye.
There are some rewarding aspects of raising rye, especially as a cover crop, that we find really intriguing and want to continue working with and having it as a fit into our rotation.
Rye is a winter hardy grain that develops a deep root system. It's good for soil health, a strong competitor to weeds, and helps reduce water and wind erosion. It can be a companion crop to soybeans, edible beans, and sugar beets, and livestock producers can use it for grazing or forage. Melvin says the rye cut his weeds in half.
Looking at the benefits we're seeing there, it easily justifies having that cover crop out there, the expense of it, but also you have the savings and tillage costs too.
After harvesting this year's rye crop, he'll be ready to seed later this month.
Each year provides a new challenge and a new opportunity.
Near Buffalo, North Dakota, this is Jeff Beach for Ag Week.
Coming up, we check crop progress as we kick off our annual corn and soybean tour.
Small or large, Superior Grain Equipment has the storage, conditioning, and handling equipment to fit any size operation with a wide variety of options and accessories, including our patented Blockbuster auger to help break up blockages over the center sump gate, and a full line of mixed flow grain dryers with even heating, excellent efficiency, and expandable capacities. Protect your investment and market your grain. Get superior quality, protection, and reliability with Superior Grain Equipment.
You can get the field results you want in varying conditions with the flexibility of the Summers VRT Renegade. Featuring on-the-fly blade angle adjustment from 0 to 19 degrees. And if you want the simplicity of a Super Coulter with the ability to move a little dirt, you'll love the all-new Summers Super Coulter Samurai. Go to summersmfg.com or visit your local dealer to learn more about North America's broadest line of tillage equipment and other products from North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing.
Hi. Bill Kelsey here, Geringhoff Territory Manager, covering northern Minnesota and the Dakotas. At Geringhoff, we offer a full line of the best harvest headers and residue management systems on the market.
Contact me today to discuss your farm's needs. From there, I'll connect you with an authorized Geringhoff dealer.
All right, here's the free gift I got for opening up a checking account. Let's see what I got.
Okay guys, so I got this portable DVD player.
Yeah, I'm not sure why my bank would give me a tiny waffle maker.
So it's a tumbler, but it doesn't fit in any of my cup holders.
I wasn't even sure they still made these.
Is it for kids? Is this for kids?
Don't fall for the free gift. Find a bank that cares about what you really need. Cornerstone Bank.
I am Kevin Johnson, president of Gateway Building Systems. I started with Gateway back in 1974 on the construction side. The next year went into the office and sales, and in 1977 became part owner. We've got a great team of salespeople, designers, project managers. The key to Gateway is our people. Our customers appreciate the quality and reliability.
Thank you to our sponsors, Prairie and Full Pod 2022, Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, North Dakota Soybean Council, North Dakota Corn Council, Minnesota Soybean, and Geringhoff.
This week, we begin taking a look at how the corn and soybean crop is looking around the region. For our first Ag Week corn and soybean tour stop of 2022, I traveled to Wyoming, North Dakota to check out the corn.
Right around the Wyoming area, things look pretty good considering what we've been through this year.
Carson Klosterman farms soybeans, sugar beets, and corn in Wyoming, North Dakota. Despite the late start to planting the corn crop, he is happy with the way his corn acres are looking.
We've seen it all this year, from late start with cool weather, wet snow, to big rain in May, which affected the earlier planting stuff from some ponding, and some replant took place.
Klosterman had multiple fields that suffered from ponding and had to replant some of his crop. But he says the crop has bounced back due to the amount of growing degree days this summer and is on track for a typical harvest date.
But now here we are, the middle of August. The grain is filling, and we could use some nice rains to help just fill all the crops.
Klosterman said the weeds were persistent in his corn crop this year, along with pests that may be a problem for him next year too.
Rootworm beetles and such next year might be a little interesting with the overwintering insects for corn.
Despite that, Klosterman is hopeful that a good harvest with a decent yield is achievable.
I guess I'll shoot low in hopes that we exceed that. Not looking at some cobs out in the field. One guy likes to joke, everything's been under 300 so far. But it'll be an okay crop. I'm 150, 175.
Mikkel Pates here on the Ag Week Corn and Soybean Tour. Today I'm with Brett McGilvery near Dolan, South Dakota. We're focusing on soybeans here. What did it look like for the soybean producer here?
The biggest challenge for pretty much the whole Northeast region was too wet and late planting.
Yeah, so your guys, maybe in this field here that we're looking at south of Dolan, would have been planted when?
Normally we would be the first week or 10 days of May, but a lot of these fields would have not went until late May or early June.
How has that affected their production, and especially as the moisture has come this year? What's happened with your soybeans here?
Well, so far it hasn't affected it because we have a longer growing season here because we're in the James Valley, but it will probably definitely affect number of pods, amount of flowers.
Mm-hmm. And so what do you expect in terms of yield, as 10 being the best? What do you expect for yields, and where do you think you're at?
We're at right now could be a 7, but we're at the brink of really needing moisture. So it could go down from there or up. But
you think you're maybe getting a little behind for this time?
We're definitely getting behind for this time of year. Right now our biggest concern with what's left is insects. Okay. And there's not been a big issue, but that's what we're concerned about from this point on.
What insects are you usually dealing the most with here?
In this area, be mostly bean leaf beetles and grasshoppers. There's times that this is a spider mite area, but we've been wet enough and humid enough that that's not a condition this year.
Thanks, Brett, for talking to us. For Ag Week's Corn and Soybean Tour, this is Mikkel Pates.
Our crop tours continue for the next several weeks. Farmers are watching closely to see how the Supreme Court will rule on federal water regulation. In October, the High Court will hear Sackett versus the EPA. It deals with the family's ability to build on their land because the wetlands on their property fall under the waters of the U.S. rule. In the meantime, the Biden administration is trying to form a new water protection policy. American Farm Bureau Vice President Scott Vanderwall, who farms in South Dakota, says he's very concerned that the administration is going back to the 2015 version.
We like the rule that was put in place a couple of years ago that was really common sense and it was easy to understand and fair to everybody.
The Supreme Court is expected to rule on the Sackett case in the first half of 2023, but the EPA has indicated it plans to issue a WOTUS rule by the end of this year. Ahead on Ag Week TV, it's time to check your soybean fields for disease.
Every season has an end. After spending your whole life building something, it can be hard to move on to your next stage in life. But when that time comes, you deserve to have someone you trust guide you through the process. And by trusting us to pass on your legacy, it gives someone else the chance to create their own. Every auction has a story. Let us share yours.
Saline can leave certain parts of a field unproductive, so North Dakota farmer Brad Kellerman was excited to try the product and see his soils come back to life.
I really like the properties that it displays, and I'm going to keep working with it to try and improve the overall soil health, because if the soil health is not good, I don't think the crop is going to be good either.
Kellerman has been pleased with the results of his soil since beginning to use Calcine.
So I don't believe there's anything on the market that I've seen like Calcine that works in the soil the way it does.
Satellite imagery, we looked at it, you can see exactly where the Calcine was. We have more growth in those areas.
Gary Wagner farms in northwest Minnesota on a variety of different soil types. He says Calcine has helped his acres thrive and plans to continue to use Calcine in the future.
We're becoming a believer.
Systems way. Good work, good pay, in a good life, lets me live my way. Good work, good pay, in a good life, Trans Systems way. Good work, good pay, in a good life, lets me live my way. It's the Trans Systems way. Good work.
Dynaflow is the ultimate high-volume water management pump. Whether you're experiencing flooding, emptying sloughs, transferring ponds, or working on irrigation, the Dynaflow pump works in as little as 18 inches of water and is designed to move 3,000 gallons per minute. The Dynaflow lift pump is the perfect upgrade to your drain tile system. Using line shaft turbine pump technology, these pumps are made to last while operating efficiently. Dynaflow drain tile pumps can move up to 1,500 gallons per minute, up to 3,400 feet away.
As the growing season progresses, could the region use some rain? Here's John with our AgriWeather Outlook.
Weather outlook across North America, the pattern continues to be dominated by this rather lethargic and weak jet stream pattern over North America. That started really a couple of weeks ago, and it persists now, and it has a couple of impacts. One, it's really keeping the heat away from most of the corn bean belt agricultural areas of North America. It's been very hot along the West Coast and in the South and in the Southwest. That's not going away, but that's also fairly seasonal. The precipitation pattern, not particularly especially rainy, except for a few areas like the monsoonal flow in the Southwest. That's this area that comes up out of Old Mexico and the Baja and tends to make the weather kind of stormy in the Southwest this time of year. That's not going away. But with this jet stream still split into two factions and still relatively weak, the strongest branch here, the northern branch, we're not seeing a lot of huge precipitation patterns, nor are we seeing a lot of really dramatic temperature patterns, except probably most notably the occasional excursion of excessively hot air into the Pacific Northwest, which, if it's going to happen, is most likely in late summer into September, but still, it's been quite hot out there. As we go through this week, there will be some gradual weakening of this bi-split pattern, and we're going to start to see these two jets into the second week of the pattern merging into more of one, and that may eventually add a little credence to a little bit more of a dynamic temperature pattern. But at least through this week, things are going to stay about the same, mostly pretty hot weather in the south, the southern plains, and along the west coast, mostly not coastal areas, but slightly interior. Toward this weekend, though, cooler weather will start building in around Hudson Bay, and that will likely begin to persist, and we're going to start to see some even cooler weather build down as we get a little bit of ridging out here once again into western Canada. That'll send the first really notable sub-freezing air into the area around the west side of Hudson Bay by about the Labor Day weekend. That's the way it looks like to me right now, and that will tend to start cooling down the Great Lakes and the northeastern states, perhaps as we start moving into the fall weather pattern. It's still going to be relatively warm in the northern plains. We're just not getting any hot weather into the northern plains to speak of. Precipitation-wise, pretty dry weather along the west coast, northern Rockies, northern plains, It's been a wet summer in central Canada. That's not going to change. Showers and thunderstorms from the monsoon spreading across the southeastern states into the Labor Day or the few days before Labor Day weekend. We'll start to see still dry weather in the northern plains, a little bit of a drying up in the far south, probably some showers, thunder showers getting into the Great Lakes as those areas begin to cool down. But overall, not a terribly wet pattern nor a hot pattern.
I want the toughest thing I can find, and that's why I stuck with this boat. If they would change their philosophy, and I would probably look to another brand that's going to give me that same kind of toughness and durability that I'm looking for. It was really a no-brainer for us. The product stays where it's put, and the control is literally row to row.
Last year's drought and this year's late planting season put some farmers behind schedule. But there's a new nano-liquid technology that could help play catch-up by delivering nutrients to your crops more efficiently. Let's take a look at how this new technology works. Erickson Custom Operations introduced AquaYield to the region in 2018. Farmers and producers alike have grown to appreciate this nano-liquid technology that's helped stretch their dollar thanks to AquaYield's impressive use rate.
The use rate is like 4 ounces an acre, which is a very low use rate.
AquaYield has also allowed farmers to lower their input costs while their yields continue to rise.
I mean, really all from between $3 to possibly $8 on a per acre cost to you to try it. So very inexpensive.
For more information, call the number or visit our website on the screen.
It's going to be an interesting year in agriculture. We have already seen the markets trade to new crop highs and levels not seen in years. There is uncertainty around the 2022 growing season. Will drought impact production? How many acres will be switched? And will demand remain strong? Are you getting the information you need to make the right marketing decisions? With the changing market environment, maybe it's time to change how you approach your grain marketing. Let Martinson Ag Risk Management get you the news that matters and a marketing plan that suits your needs.
Small or large, Superior Grain Equipment has the storage, conditioning, and handling equipment to fit any size operation with a wide variety of options and accessories, including our patented Blockbuster auger to help break up blockages over the center sump gate, and a full line of mixed flow grain dryers with even heating, excellent efficiency, and expandable capacities. Protect your investment and market your grain. Get superior quality, protection, and reliability with Superior Grain Equipment.
Ag Week TV Soy Insight, brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Council.
After a late start this spring, the soybean crop is looking good. But this is the time of year to get out and check your fields for signs of disease. Rose Dunn has more in this month's Soy Insight.
Despite kind of a late start planting in the spring, the soybean crop is catching up and looking pretty good. But there are some things growers need to be watching out for. Joining us now is Dr. Sam Markell, Extension Plant Pathologist. This is a critical time of year for growers, isn't it?
Yeah, the crop does look great, and one of the things I encourage growers to do sometime between mid-August and early to mid-September, they want to go out into that crop and take a look for some of the diseases that they might find. And really what we're looking for is 4 different diseases to show up. Soybean cyst nematode's been around for a while now. A lot of the growers know about soybean cyst, and we talk about soil sampling. And the North Dakota Soybean Council makes it really easy. There's bags that are distributed to each of the county offices in the state. Growers can pick it up, take a soil sample, send it into the lab, and then they'll get their data back in the mail, and the Soybean Council covers the lab fees. But there's 3 other ones that I think that they should look at too. So sudden death syndrome is an emerging disease in the state. Usually you see it as really bright yellow flecks on the leaves, and eventually what happens is those plants will drop those leaves and the plants will die fairly quickly. Brown stem rot shows up in mid-August as well, and you can find that by cutting the stem open in the middle, and there'll be like a brown line in it. Charcoal rot shows up in a hot, dry August, and we've had a couple of those in a row, and we saw some pretty significant charcoal rot in the last 2 years. And what happens with that is you see areas in a field that'll start to prematurely senesce, they start to die, and the leaves will all hang on. And pretty soon you'll have an area of soybeans that looks like it needs to be harvested about 3 weeks before anything else. So what you find in August, there will be solutions, there will be management tools that you can have available in the next upcoming years.
Very important information. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Sam Markell.
For more information about the SCN sampling program, contact Sam Markell at NDSU. Still ahead on Ag Week TV, a North Dakota Extension agent gets a top honor.
The team at North Star Ag is committed to quality and committed to you. We're not just a full-service dealer, we're farmers too, so we know you need the best machinery and services that'll keep you going all season long. We have the largest equipment inventory in the upper Midwest with a well-equipped parts and service department. So whether you need machinery tomorrow or parts today, stop in and experience what North Star Ag can offer on our website at northstar-ag.com or give us a call at 701-361-4790.
Farming is more than just work. It's your way of life. Protecting your family's legacy is our way of life. Through challenges and successes, we understand your family's insurance needs. With every turn of the wheel, for every investment, through every season, generation after generation, Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, always alongside you.
Don't miss out on the equipment you'll need next season. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH dealer, has early order discounts on its full line of powerful, efficient, new Case IH equipment, including tractors, combines, and self-propelled sprayers. Get a great deal and ensure that you have the latest in productivity and technology. Supply chains are tight. Contact your Titan Machinery dealership today and find out how much you can save by ordering ahead. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH equipment experts.
Hi, Bill Kelsey here, Geringhoff Territory Manager, covering northern Minnesota and the Dakotas. At Geringhoff, we offer a full line of the best harvest headers and residue management systems on the market. Contact me today to discuss your farm's needs. From there, I'll connect you with an authorized Geringhoff dealer.
Attention farmers and farming communities. The herbicide paraquat has been linked to Parkinson's disease. Paraquat, also known as gramoxone, is still being used in the U.S. on corn, soy, and wheat crops and puts farm workers in danger. Producers across the country have filed lawsuits claiming that paraquat caused their Parkinson's disease and that the manufacturer failed to warn about the chemical's risk of neurological damage. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with Parkinson's after direct or indirect exposure to paraquat, call or visit solberglaw.com.
An NDSU Extension Specialist has earned a big honor. Carl Hoppe has been a livestock specialist at the Carrington Research Center for 32 years. He was recently inducted into the National Association of County Agents Hall of Fame. Only 4 agents a year get this honor, and Hoppe is only the second in North Dakota.
It is unique. It's just hard to get the award, period, because they divide it into 14 regions and only one person out of 13 states is selected. And I feel like I'm in pretty elite company.
Hoppe also raises cattle and sheep. Stories you'll only see on agweek.com and in Ag Week magazine this week. A farmer who's American Crystal Sugar's oldest shareholder celebrates his 105th birthday. And Minnesota looks at ways to improve the local meatpacking industry. We appreciate you watching Ag Week TV. Remember to check us out daily on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to keep up on all your ag news. Have a great week.